What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to do an oil change in a 2019 and up Ford Ranger. There's a lot of speculation going around that these things are a super huge pain to change oil on, and they're really not. And so I'm going to show you guys a few pointers how to do the oil change on this thing fairly easy. So first thing you want to do is go to your settings on your display here on the left, go to vehicle and then oil life reset, and hold down OK, and it'll set your oil life back to 100%. The next thing you're going to want to do is take your steering wheel, crank it all the way to the right as far as it'll go, and leave it there and go ahead and shut your engine off. Alright, so the reason you want to turn your steering wheel all the way to the right is to give you access to this flap right here. What you're want to do is take you a little trim piece removal tool right here, put it up under here, and basically just pop these pins out. And what that will do is give you access to the oil filter that's right there. So you can either take a extension with a little claw or something and get up in there to take that off, or you can, if you can get it off with your hand, you can do it that way, or put a filter wrench in there fairly easy. Shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure you have a drain pan sitting below it, which you can do this on the ground. I just happen to be spoiled and have a lift, but either way will work. So next, after you get your old filter off, you want to get your new one, which you can get a Ford FL910 or equivalent filter to stick back on there. Alright, so after you get the filter back on, you just put your little flat back down and take your little retaining pins, shove those back in there. Just shove those back in the little holes, and don't worry if you lose some or break one. They sell them really cheap at O'Reilly's or AutoZone or wherever for like $1 or $2. So if you do lose them and want to stick them back in there, they're really inexpensive. If you don't want to put them back in there, you don't really have to. It's not really going to hurt anything, but that's totally up to you. Alright, once you get done putting your oil filter back on and putting that flat back on, the rest of the oil change is pretty straightforward. All you're going to need is a ratchet and a 15mm socket, or you can use a 15mm wrench, whichever you prefer, and take off the drain plug right there, and it's real easy to get to. The four-wheel drives have a plate that goes right up in here, so it kind of makes it a little more difficult on the four-wheel drives, but you can still get to it. One thing I'd like to mention too is whenever you take your oil filter off, this is where it drains out. There's this little pan here that catches the oil. It comes down this little spout right here and drains out right about there. So that's about where you want to put your drain pan whenever you take your oil filter off. So if you're expecting it to come straight down from where the oil filter is, it's not. Just make sure it's back behind this cross member, and it should catch most of the oil. So just a heads up on that. Let me get this oil drained out, and as soon as I have it drained out and done, I will show you what to do on it. One thing I'd also like to mention too is whenever you tighten this drain plug up, do not over tighten it. It only takes maybe 10-15 foot-pounds maybe at the very most, and it's snug, and it doesn't need to go anything past that, because otherwise you'll either strip the threads out on the oil pan or the drain plug. So just whenever you tighten it, just give it a nice good snug, and it's usually good enough to seal it up, and it'll be fine. It won't back out or anything. Alright, so when you get to the top, your oil filler cap is right here. Just pull that off, and I like to put a hood latch just to keep myself from forgetting it. What you're going to do is put 5W30 in there, and it's going to take 6.2 quarts exactly with the filter. Doesn't matter if you put regular oil or full synthetic, it'll handle both of them just fine. I actually prefer full synthetic myself, but that's just my opinion. Always make sure to check your oil level whenever you're done filling it up with oil, just to double check, and that's pretty much how you do it. Alright guys, that's pretty much all there is to do an oil change on one of these. After you start it, it's always a good idea to get outside of the truck and check underneath it just to make sure there's nothing leaking, because you never know, something could be dripping or leaking still, and you always want to double check just to be 100% sure. But yeah, that's all there is to do an oil change on these. They're super easy. Don't listen to anything you've heard on the internet. They're really easy to do. Well, anyways, thanks for watching. If you could like, subscribe, and comment on the video, and please give it a thumbs up. Thanks, guys.